Ladies and gentlemen, our inductee, Mike Little. Mike Little was a 3-year letterman at Albertville High School, where he played fullback under Coach G.B. Beasley from 1963 to 1965. Since 1965, there have been no unbeaten or one-loss Aggie football teams. The 1965 Aggie Gridmen had an 8-1-1 record. These Marshall County champs had the opening season tie with Arab and the lone loss 6-0 with Fort Payne. The Aggie scores are listed on the right. The wins were over teams like Gadsden, Etowah, and Emma Sanson, closing out a great year with a 28-19 win over Gunnersville and giving up only 61 points all season. That same year, Mike Little was selected to the North Alabama Conference team and honorable mention All-State. Mike was listed in the Albertville yearbook as most school spirit. As a member of the school's golf team, he won the Marshall County High School Golf Championship in 1966. A 3-sport athlete, he also participated on the Aggie track team. This photo is from the Aggie yearbook. Mike Little was fortunate to play on 2 bowl teams at Jacksonville State. Jim Blevins was the head coach when the Gamecocks played and won the Space City Classic in Huntsville in 1966. This is at the spring training 1967, left to right. Mike Little, Billy Henderson, Glenn Spann of Arab, and Robert Kelly. At the end of spring training, Mike Little was the quickest man on the team, according to the head coach Jim Blevins. Only a sophomore, Little could develop into one of Jacksonville State's most outstanding fullbacks before he graduates. Besides being an outstanding football prospect, Mike is also quite a golfer. He shoots in the low 70s. Albertville native Charlie Pell took over the Gamecock football program in 1969 and was coach of the unbeaten champions of the 1970 Orange Blossom Classic in Miami. In the fall of 1969, left to right, Phil Lee, Mike Little, Robert Landrum, Jim Blankenship. Coaches his junior year, Coach Pell's first group, left to right, Ray Emanuel, Ken Haushalter, Cotton Clark, Charlie Pell, Clarkie Mayfield, Kyle Albright, and Jim Fuller. The 1970 senior game captains for the first game with Samford in Birmingham, left to right, Mike Little, ballerina Sandra Van Landingham of Birmingham, and Tab Gables of Bremen, Georgia. The Jack State ballerina is giving the captains a pep talk. At the start of the 1970 season, Mike was the only remaining player from the 1966 squad. He was married and the father of a son, Mike Jr. There was a redshirt year in 1967 due to knee injury. He picked up the nickname Old Man and was elected permanent captain by his 1970 teammates. The Gamecock seniors year with Coach Pell, left to right, the coach, Tab Gables of Bremen, Georgia, Charlie McRoberts of Birmingham, Mike Little of Albertville, Preston Newman of Hartselle, Jimmy Morrison of London, Kentucky, Jimmy Champion of Montford, and David Robinson of Ranburg. The 21-7 victory over Florida A&M in the Orange Blossom Classic closed out a fantastic season for Coach Charlie Pell and his men at 10-0. Jacksonville State University's offensive team that met Florida A&M in the Orange Blossom Classic in Miami. Kneeling from left to right, we have number 87, David Robinson, number 72, Bruce Nichols, number 62, Terry Collins, 50 is Jimmy Champion, 52, Jimmy Martin, 73, Henry Hobbs. Hobbs at one time was in the banking business here in Gunnersville. Standing from left to right, Bobby Markham. Second is Mike Little. There's Doc Litt, Terry Owens, and Boyce Callahan. On its third possession, Jacksonville's Mike Little banged over from the 1 for the first score before a crowd of over 31,000 in the 38th Orange Blossom Classic and the Gamecocks' first time on national television. 1970 scores, 10-0, Mid-South Atlantic Conference champs. Notice only a couple of close contests, 16-14 with Tennessee Martin, 8-7 over Livingston, closing with a big win over Florida A&M and a second-place finish in the nation. Coach Pell thought so much of the youngster from Albertville that a couple of years later, he invited him back as a featured speaker at the football banquet. Little's teammates at Jacksonville State from 1966 through 1970 included Boyce Callahan, Doc Litt, Herb Winches, Gary Godfrey, Bubba Long and Terry Harris. It's a 1970 Jacksonville State football guide. The pictures at the top are, left to right, Ricky Weems, Mike Little, Fran Bickley, Gary Godfrey, and Jimmy Champion. Little had assistant high school coaching jobs at Jacksonville, T.R. Miller, and Sachs. His first wife, Shirley Ann Runyon, had passed away, and in 1974, Mike and his new wife, Susie Diane Garner, accepted positions at Sachs. In 1977, he became a full-time assistant principal and no longer coached. His second son, Nicholas, was born in 1975. The young Aggies with the most spirit, Jane Morgan and Mike Little. In 1982, Little was hired as principal of DAR Elementary School, where he stayed 10 years. Mike and Susie helped found the New Life First United Methodist Church in Grant, and in 1992, Little transferred to Boaz Elementary School as principal. A year later, he became the principal of the new Boaz Middle School, where he stayed until his retirement 8 years later. During those years as an administrator, he was officiating basketball and football. The highlights of his officiating career included the 1990 Boys State Basketball Tournament, the 1996 inaugural Super 6 Football State Championship at Legion Field in Birmingham, and the 1997 Final Four State Basketball Championships. Three great ones left to right, Mike Little, Bubba Long, and Doc Litt. And guess which ones are new J Club members? Today, Thomas Michael Little is a grandfather to three and a citizen of Albertville, where he is involved in church, community, and civic affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, our inductee, Mike Little.
Good evening. I hope you're having as good a time as I am watching all these activities. I've been, as Richard was saying, I've been extremely impressed with everything. The entire situation from day one has been really first class. This is an amazing operation. These people do a wonderful job putting on this event. It takes a lot of effort and work to put something of this magnitude together. And I certainly appreciate all of you, the committee, and all of you people that are attending here. I'm greatly humble to be inducted into this Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame with so many people that are certainly more deserving. I'd like to give a special thanks to some people who have meant a great deal to me over the years. My mother and father, Willena and Bruce Little, my brother Billy and his wife, Wilda, my brother Keith Little, deceased, my wife Shirley Runyon Little, deceased, my wife Susie, my sons and their wives and children. That's Michael and Tammy with Logan and Hunter, Nick and Kelly with Colton and Kinsley. Family is so very important. Without family, you have nothing at all. Speaking of family, the 1965 Albertville Aggie football team was a family. We worked together and played together. We won together, and we lost together. We were truly a group that had a special oneness, a group that thought we could be the best, and we worked toward that goal. To foster more togetherness, Coach G.B. Beasley had groups of players that would get together on Thursday nights and go to each other's houses and eat. It was a great way to get to know the other teammates outside of the practice field. I can remember the hot, dry days practicing on the bare track that felt like it was made of concrete. Of course, it didn't have water breaks back then. 4-hour practices were very common. I have many fond memories of that great bunch of Aggie players that became winners. I've been told time and time again not to take too much time and name off names because it's very boring. I would love to call out every single name of every player on that team, but I'm not going to do that. I appreciate each one of those team members, because without all of the team, nobody gets recognition, and everybody was very, very important. We won 8 games, including all 3 Gadsden teams, as it showed in the video. We tied with Arab and lost to Fort Payne 6-0. That team oneness that was developed in high school prepared me to be accepted in a successful college program. My Jacksonville State University days were very good. We had good teams, not so good teams, and we had one undefeated team. I played on 2 8-win teams and the one undefeated 10-win team. And of course, all of those great teams had one thing in common: the oneness of spirit, the team concept that nothing individual matters. It's all for the benefit of the team. That concept is a fantastic feeling that lasts a lifetime. I had 2 head coaches at Jacksonville State University, Jim Blevins and Charlie Pale. Each of these men instilled the same type of values of team oneness during their tenure. The teamwork and perseverance I learned in high school were improved upon by Coach Blevins and his staff. And later, under the leadership of Coach Charlie Pale, these lessons were set in stone. The undefeated, untied 1970 Gamecocks had that unique style of all championship teams: 11 players on offense and 11 players on defense that played as one. This group of overachievers worked so hard with so little ability and achieved so much in the face of insurmountable obstacles because they believed in themselves, their coaches, and each other. The 1970 Jacksonville State Gamecocks had a record of 10 wins against 0 defeats. They were Gulf South Conference champions, Orange Bowl or Orange Blossom Classic Bowl champions, ranked second in the national rankings, even though they were unable to play for the national championship due to a contractual dispute with the University of Chattanooga. It was a great experience for me. What is it about winners that we know? Winners never quit. Perseverance is the number one reason that winners keep winning. They outwork their opponents. The true test of a winner is getting back up when you've been knocked down. It's easy to be a winner when everything is going your way, but it's much, much tougher when everything seems to be against you. Perseverance and teamwork will carry you through, whether it's on the athletic field or in the work world. After college, I brought lessons that were learned through athletics to my schools. Nowhere is it more important to be a part of a team than in a school or a school system. Having everyone pulling in the same direction is so very important for the learning environment. I would hope that in some small way, I have influenced children in a positive manner by my leadership and teamwork in the school systems in the state of Alabama. I want to again thank you for honoring me tonight, and personally thank those responsible for my nomination and selection. And I hope that I can continue to be a worthy part of this team, the Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you so very much.